Why should it be you? You have some legitimate grievances. You have genuine grievances. As I already said, New Delhi has not been fair to Kashmir. But it depends on how you communicate the things. By taking Pakistani flag and then at times ISIS flag, you only made the people in India, in the mainland, you made them, you irritated them, you angered them. So it was the public opinion. Why did the mainland celebrate it? It was because of the fact that I raised that Pakistani flag. I should have not. I'm revealing it in my next book, which is coming up in the next 20 days. I will hold Sanjay and Rashid together again with the political support of the president. Again, they will invite me to this place to inaugurate that very revealing and very beautiful book about the politics of 317. I'm revealing it there that the Home Minister in 2016 summoned me along with my other friends. बशीर सिंह, वापस जाइएगा श्रीनगर, उनको कहिएगा कि ये पाकिस्तानी जगह हाथ में मत लीजिए. You have your own flag. Why don't you take that flag? अगर आप उस झंडे को अपने हाथ में ले लेंगे, पहले तो पूरे मुल्क में ये एहसास पैदा हो जाएगा, एक क्वेश्चन पैदा हो जाएगा कि ये झंडा है क्या. और जब कोई सवाल पहले पैदा, जिसके जहन में ये सवाल पैदा हो जाएगा ये झंडा क्या है, then he will get the answer, and the answer will be he will get acquainted with the real conflict itself, what the conflict is about. It will go to your advantage. And if they don't do this, I think in near future something big will happen, and I may not be able to stop that. I will be, sir, because this right of sin. So there are many truths, sir. Many things. Then somebody from Kashmir will come, thriving on this bloody economy, taking money from this side and from that side, and then giving big lectures, just justifying everything. That's not true. The truth is that इस घर को आग लगी, घर की चिराग. हमने हमारा जब खुद, it is about when we have a problem in our own home, when there is some kind of dispute between father and son, if son is polite, if son is gentle in presenting his case, I think the decision goes in his favor, and it's always. अब अगर बेटा ही उठे और बाप को थप्पड़ मारे, then you know what happens. That has happened with many people. So legitimate issues को हमने illegitimate तरीके से सेटल किया. The fault lies with me. My friends keep telling me that why are you always looking inwards? I said there are hundreds and thousands of people who are only looking outwards. I am the only guy. Let me look inwards. मुझे अपनी गिरिमा में देखने दो. बाकी तो सभी तो न्यू दिल्ली की, we have the problem there, the perceptual problem. The people above 40 like me, they would always look towards New Delhi and Islamabad. I have mentioned it here. Nothing knowing themselves. Always looking towards them. और जब भी संजय वहाँ श्रीनगर आता है, संजय जी आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप दिल्ली वाले कुछ कर लीजिए, यार आपकी प्रॉब्लम है. Why don't you do it yourself? आपके घर में आग लगी है, आपका बच्चा आपके खिलाफ हो चुका है, आप उसको खुद नहीं समझा रहे हो, न्यू दिल्ली को कहते हो कि इसको समझाओ. Why should they? And then you are talking about Islamabad. Yeah. Terrorism is actually it is the new form of technology. So how do you expect Pakistan to be fair with you, to be honest with you. Why should they? So, again, the onus lies with me, the buck stops with me. Dear friends, as I tried to point out that state administration tried to open the schools, you know what, sir? When that senior separatist leader, Sayyid Ali Gilani, was issuing hartal strike calendars during past strikes, whether it was 2008, 2010, 2012, 2016, suppose he will issue a call for a strike on Friday and Thursday during week, teachers back home, they would try to exaggerate it and take on social media. There is a call for 4 days in a week. Because they too have developed something of interest in it. Okay, ठीक है, ये 2 दिन और घर में ही काम कर लेंगे. So why didn't administration succeed? Because teachers they were not ready. It was the fruit season. They had to collect the fruits, they had to ship it, then it was the harvesting season. Paddy was ready. So somehow this ecosystem it gets many stakeholders there who keep it sustaining and surviving. Of course, the biggest problem in Kashmir, to me, everybody else would rip my statement apart in Kashmir if you talk to anybody. But I know what the truth is, and the truth is that our youth, they have lost focus. They are ambitious, they are aspirational, of course, but mentally and psychologically and emotionally, they have become so much vulnerable and so much radicalized, which is beyond redemption. Beyond redemption, sir. And this is the middle class who are prone to this deadly ideology. Because their children, they don't have avenues and opportunities available. Somehow these kids can manage to reach Hyderabad, but back home who can't even provide meals to his kids in the evening, how can he afford? His kids are back, and then there are many players. I have elaborated it in this book that we have a class of retired bureaucrats in Kashmir. Throughout their lives, they have been corrupt, inaccessible to the people, and who never bothered about the problems the people were facing. But once they retire, they want to address their own isolation and alienation, because they will not get a respectable place in the society. So what do? They either occupy the mosque or just go for this separatist narrative. हम क्या चाहते हैं? In my own colony, in 2016, I would listen to these retired people talking very frequently about we had constructed a narrative in those days: no education till liberation. No education till liberation. And these retired gentlemen, they would strike it like anything. I was in Delhi. I had to catch a very early morning flight. I went to airport T3 terminal, and there I saw in queue my next door neighbor Mr. Falani. Welcome. Thank you very much.
Sorry to disturb you.
No. Thank you. So, I am going from him, Sanjay. कहाँ से आ रहे हैं जनाब? कहाँ दुबई में था मैं कि वहाँ क्या कर रहे थे? His wife was here. कहते मेरे बच्चे वहाँ पे हैं. तो next day again वो कांदरू हमारे यहाँ होता है जिससे हम सवेरे सवेरे रोटी लेते हैं तंदूरी. तो I went to take the roti and he was again saying this, no, हमें education किस चीज के लिए चाहिए? No education till liberation. मैंने जुर्रत करके बोला, मैंने कहा माशे, where are your own kids? They are settling abroad and bloody. For whom this narrative are you constructing? For my kids, because I can't afford to take them abroad. This is one section. Then you have illiterate, uneducated clergy. Bloody talking about skies, heavens, hells, without any kind of information about the geopolitics, existing ground realities, how the nations work, how the statecraft works, how the conflicts are resolved. Without having any idea about these, they keep on striking these Jannat, Jahannam theories, 72 horas and all that for life. I mean, why? Here's eating, sir. We had a serious problem in one of the sensitive areas in Srinagar during the month of September. You know, Anjar. It is close to the Sri Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences, a very reputed institution. There was a complete mayhem. People were in the streets during the nights also, just chanting slogans and emotions running so high. It was a big problem for the security agencies to maintain law and order in that area. When the situation fizzled out, only after 10 days, I think it was perhaps 7th or 8th November, ETV came up with the story that land mafia has activated in that area and it has occupied a huge chunk of marshy land, wetland. It has filled it. People in my administration, wow, they could not pick up the threads from there. Yeah, bring it to the phone now because TV channel has come out with a video suggesting that this huge disturbances in that Achar area was because of this thing. It had something very but they didn't. So, as I told you that there are many things going on in between. We have problem of narco-terrorism in Kashmir. And nobody is talking about it. And nobody is willing to talk about it because if anyone dares to question this narco-terrorism, the nexus, he will get eliminated by his own people. I mean, that's please. Then there are many players. Nobody is talking about it. And then you have education system completely in shambles. There are no checks and balances. There is no scrutiny of syllabi. Which institute is imparting what kind of education? You don't have any control over things. And when there is any kind of disturbance, then you say, oh dear, what to do now? But you tell us. But you could not work on it in peaceful this ecosystem, it has actually the narrative which was there having some kind of legitimacy. It has actually suppressed that narrative also. People will talk about different things in different tunes, along different lines, at different times because of different interests, because of various interests. There is mullah, there is mosque, there is militant, then there are these many players playing out in the streets of Kashmir. So I honestly thought that no, I should try to bring out this, expose this whole ecosystem, even if it means that I have to sacrifice my own life. I'm ready. And I don't because I'm so unreal. And I know essentially because your system, the bureaucracy, it is so ruthless, it is so faceless in Kashmir, they don't bother. They don't care. They don't listen to you. They are not accessible. It is like complete Tanashahi. See, you have detained the political leadership. The only thing, देखिए मुसीबत क्या है? The only thing which is being appreciated by one and all in Kashmir is the crackdown on this political leadership. Only thing. And the only thing you are being harassed every day on international forums is the crackdown on this political leadership. This is the only thing which is being agitated upon. Every day you will come across somewhere in Belgium, in Belfast, in Germany, in Europe, in US, somebody will be somewhere talking about the crackdown on political leadership in Kashmir. The fact remains, this is the only thing. Out of all whatever you have done there in Kashmir, this is the only thing which is being appreciated. And your system there is so, they don't have any idea how to go for it. No, why should you detain somebody under those sections of preventive detention and all that? Why you are making again heroes out of them, out of chores? So on second day of demonetization, I hope I'm not. I have taken much time. No, please. On second day of demonetization, maternal uncle of my friend Chief Minister Mahbooba Mufti, Mr. Sartaj Madani, whom I call Mama Thakur. Mama Thakur exchanges 132 crores of old currency on the second day of demonetization. And if he is detained, let me sir, people will appreciate it. If it is war against corruption, I am with you. The entire people in Kashmir are with you. They will appreciate it. But you have detained them under something called preventive detention and preventive custody and making them heroes. And there are people in the international forums and international community who are agitating on this. So this is the dilemma. You should have given it the thought and how to go for, how to book them under the relevant provisions of anti-corruption laws and book them as teams. Why should we make them heroes? Anyway, so there are many things happening, and I know that people in Delhi are not comfortable with me. And there, when a grenade was heard in mid-90s at the residence of a friend of mine, a journalist friend, colleague. So in the evening he was interviewed by somebody. Yusuf kya hua? He said that he quoted Ghalib. Zahid तंग नजर ने काफिर समझा है और काफिर समझता है कि मुसलमान है. The same thing is happening with me. There in Kashmir, I have invited the wrath and anger of everyone, even the people in my own family. Nobody is happy with me because I came out with this naked truth. And here in Delhi, I am being looked upon with suspicion. Unfortunately. So, ladies and gentlemen, the point I am trying to make is that we should be very careful about talking about Kashmir. Very careful. The narratives coming out, I say, these are actually driven by voters. Voters. These narratives are not the narratives of locals. Who are these voters? They are controlling the leverages of power. You will be astonished, sir. I got hand on a finding, a survey conducted by CID Department of Jammu and Kashmir. They didn't reveal it to me, but somehow I got hand on it, which says that mullahs, Gilanis, Bukharis, Andrabis, you are hearing about these. Gilanis, Bukharis, Andrabis, Hamdanis, Naqshbandis. They constitute just 2.91% of the population. And they are occupying 35% government jobs. Media is controlled 9% by this community. I could not find a job, sir. People in Hindu, my friends, people in Times of India, my dear friends, people in the Hindustan Times, my dear friends, people in Express, my teachers. I have been requesting them sincerely, give me a job, I want to come out from Srinagar. They never offered me a job. Why? Because there is a mullah, Mufti, Andrabi, Gilani, Hamdani. One of my friends in Srinagar tweeted his wife, she had to deliver. So he presented it like as something unprecedented and something very which has never happened on earth happening in Kashmir. Because her wife, she has to deliver. Come on, yaar, there are hundreds and thousands of sisters. And this is the normal thing happening over. And honestly, I must say that there were not that kind of restrictions that you can't not take your wife to hospital. And okay, it was for 15 to 20 days, but after that, everything was eased out and people were moving easily, freely in their own transport, private transport and all that. In fact, private transport was, they were plying the commuters. They were taking money from them. As Mr. Bohra said somewhere yesterday in Delhi, the biggest casualties in Kashmir have been the education first, and then it is the transport sector. They have to bear the brunt, otherwise everybody was doing his business. The so-called disobedience, silent disobedience moment. A shopkeeper opening his shop in the morning for 2 hours, selling the product at 10 rupees in 30 or 50 rupees, plugging, and then closing the shop for the day and reopening it in the evening for again 2 more hours, going for black marketing and all that, and then he is on civil disobedience. What happened? What kind of truth is this? So this is something which we don't have access to. In 2016, sir, our largest selling vernacular in English, on 14th of August, which is the Independence Day of Pakistan, militants celebrated that day in many parts of Kashmir, particularly in South Kashmir. And if militants have done something, anything, anywhere, in any part of Kashmir, it will be the news of the next day. You will be reading it in the following day's newspaper. No? If something has happened on 14th, you will be reading it on 15th. That newspaper came out with a picture showing the militants hoisting Pakistani flag in a Kulgam village in South Kashmir. No caption where. It was a half-page photo. Militants was hoisting Pakistani flag in a South Kashmir village in Kulgam. My God. Double dealers we have. This is the another section of society. Taking money from that side, taking money from this side. The message was for both sides. One, if my son looks at this picture on August 22nd, he and his hundreds of friends, they will get emotionally charged, and again they will come out with stones, pelting stones here and here. It was for them, for this side. And for that side, it was for the agency. Look, we have done something great for you. Here are the militants hoisting Pakistani flag. When? Where? No. The coincidence is that this episode happened in a village where a dear friend of mine lives, and he was giving me live commentary on that day when it happened, and I have put it in the book. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kashmir is a very complex thing, because that society is a very complex society. One of the very important fundamentals of Kashmir society is that collectively we have one narrative, and if you talk to me privately, I will be revealing altogether different things. Even if I'm a speaker at some conference, and before the August audience, I'm telling something, revealing this and that. When I come down and I will tell you privately, sir, karna padta hai, kya kare? What nonsense? Why are you doing this? For whom? जब मैं ऐसी बातें कहता हूं तो आरएसएस का एजेंट है, आईबी से पैसा लेता है, और आसिफ ने बोला कहाँ गया? आसिफ ने आपके सामने रखा कि मेरी हालत क्या है, I am surviving. लेकिन आईबी का एजेंट हूँ, रा का एजेंट हूँ. In fact, my publisher, she was very disturbed, sir. 2 days before the launch, she was very disturbed She rang me that, Bashir, I don't know what to do. What happened? She said, yeah, I'm very disappointed. I don't know. Can you please tell me the truth? What? What are you? Who are you? What happened? She said, my friends are calling me. One section is saying that he's an IB agent, and another section is saying that he's anti-India. This is the kind of, give the dog bad name and kill it. And courtesy our administration in Kashmir, that they will not be far when something unusual will happen. But anyway, somebody has to tell us. Why? I don't want to educate this audience here in Hyderabad. Simply because I don't want to now. You will be having some kind of mental block about Kashmir. Kashmir, a loving society, no doubt about it. But derail that pluralism is gone. See, we are talking about the identity and all that. Because of abrogation of Article 370, our identity is now in danger. Our culture is in danger. So let me tell you the truth. No urban elite, rather the people who are living below this poverty line also in the urban areas, no single parent communicates with his kids in Kashmir. No one. I challenge. You will never find any Kashmiri talking to his kids in Kashmir. Not at all. So what identity you are talking about? आपने तो कब का उसको डस्टबिन में डाल दिया? See, the important fundamental identity is your language. People in South, they are talking in different languages, in their own language, but in Kashmir you will never find anybody communicating with his kids in Kashmiri. और जो कोई कश्मीरी में अपने बच्चों के साथ बात करता है, उसका जो स्टेटस है, सोशल स्टेटस गिरता है. He is not a good guy. He is not an educated guy. He is being looked upon. Bechara. So, what kind of identity? I mean, yes, I will repeat it again. New Delhi has not been fair to us. But मुझे ये भी जानना है कि मैंने कितना अपने आप के साथ इंसाफ किया है और अपने बच्चों के साथ. And nobody in Kashmir is ready to talk about this. No, it was there. It is a conspiracy. They are doing it and they will destroy us, they will damage us. They are talking about the demographic changes. They are settling the foreigners here. They are settling ex-army men here. They are doing this and there. They are doing that here. When the fact remains that my own part of myself, Kashmiri Pashto, they are not ready to come back. Why? Because you don't have that kind of environment available in Kashmir. First, it is the security, for the security reasons. Second, you don't have avenues and opportunities available there. And why should somebody go back to hell? Why? I mean, their children are settled there. They are working in MMA. What do you call it? Asif? MNCs. They are studying abroad. One Kashmiri girl deporting before the US Congress, talking about atrocities committed on the Kashmiri Pandit community. So she is a celebrity. This is one. Another Kashmiri Pandit girl talking about the atrocities committed upon the Kashmiri Muslims. So, if at all somebody is talking about Kashmir internationally. It is a Kashmiri Pandit. Why? Because she or he has that access. She has that opportunity available. और मेरा बच्चा लगा है, हम क्या चाहते, छीन के ले गए यार, snatched everything beneath and talking about Sukha is nonsense. Why should we be condemning Umar and Farooq? Ma'am, during these recently held parliamentary elections, a journalist friend from Delhi came, he said, Umar is going to North Kashmir to campaign for his candidate from that place. Let us follow him for the day. Okay, that's good. At 3 places, मुझे पता नहीं है मेरे साथ ये क्यों होता है और उसी दिन क्यों होता है. At 3 places, Umar says, listen, अगर आप मुझे वोट दें, I will restore the nomenclature of Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir and Sadr Riyasat. When the same gentleman knew that Article 370 and 35A कुछ दिनों का मेहमान है. He knew it. और मैं भी जानता. जब मैं जानता हूं, उमर क्यों नहीं जानता? इसके बावजूद ये कहना कि I am going to restore this and that, it suggests that how they have been sensitizing the public opinion, how they have been flaring up the passions there. होने वाला कुछ है और कहते कुछ और. If this is the case, then we should be talking about blaming New Delhi for everything hell going on in Kashmir is unfair. Of course, it had its own problems. It has been unfair. And of late, Delhi ने और Kashmiri के साथ how to communicate with the people in Kashmir, they even don't know now. That's also a problem with people in Delhi. But there are hundreds and thousands of writers and scholars and journalists pointing out these things. And I endorse everything which has been said about the flawed Kashmir policy of New Delhi. I endorse. But that's not the only thing. The major thing is that the Kashmir society itself has to be blamed for many, many things. It has gone wrong. We are talking about Kashmirian that has died in 1989 when I hounded out the Kashmiri Pandits from that place. And now I am saying that it was Jagmohan. मेरी हर घर में, हर गली में, हर मौसम में हम क्या चाहते चल रहा था निज़ाम मुस्तफा. And then I am blaming when somebody, Bajrang Dal guys in New Delhi, very recently came out with a protest demonstration. There were just 50 odd people saying that ek dhaka aur do jami masjid tod do, when it could be seen as threat to Indian Muslims. जो निज़ाम मुस्तफा मेरी गली गली में चल रहा है, was not a threat to Kashmiri Pandits. Let's not talk about how many you killed. Let's not talk about that. We should be talking about how we constructed our narratives and how vulnerably we are placed in that municipal minority. Let's be honest, let's be truthful. And that's the only way to have some kind of way forward. Then we should be telling our children there back home that the conflict, the confrontation, the violence only brings home miseries and agonies, and we have been going through. But this time, what gives me hope, ladies and gentlemen, I will conclude. This time, after the events of August 5, my people behaved wisely. It was not the unprecedented security measures alone which helped the situation to it was actually the behavior of my own people also. This gives me hope, as I said in the beginning, that society is ambitious and aspirational, and this point proves that society is still a thinking society. Now the only thing which while now we can build up is that we have to understand how to communicate with the people in Kashmir. Long ago, in Raj Tarandi, Kalhan has said that you can't conquer Kashmiris with swords. You can conquer them only with love. And if you will tell me what is the biggest de-radicalization project, I will say it is only the language of love. You can win back the people in Kashmir. Thank you very much for giving me such. Thank you.
Yeah. Friends, the floor is open for question and answers. I request and appeal to each one of you to make the questions, keep the questions very, very short.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for your very enlightening talk on Kashmir. You have given us a different perspective altogether this evening. And I have one question which I would like to ask you. At the beginning of your lecture, you said everybody has got a vested interest. Can you just elaborate on that point?
So, this is actually a phenomenon, unavoidable phenomenon so far as conflict is concerned. When a region, a nation is in conflict, that too in violent conflict, then many players, they develop vested interest. And that vested interest is because of many things. One is whether they will be having political ambitions, doing politics over the dead bodies. Sanjay reminded me, I will elaborate it. I will actually give you an anecdote, sir. In 2011, some friends from New Delhi came to Srinagar and they told me, as usual, Bashir, we want to do some public meeting here. But DICE, we want that both separatists and mainstream politicians should be sharing the dance. I should know it is very tedious, but let me try. Anyway, invitations were sent to many people and many people confirmed, but the most senior separatist leader, Mr. Gilani, he didn't revert back. So one day we were taking dinner at Hotel Ados, very famous hotel for Kashmiri cuisine. My friends suggested, friends included Seema Mustafa, senior journalist from Delhi, then Shahid Siddiqui, then Sitaram Yechuri from left. They said that you should go personally to see Gilani and seek his confirmation. I said no, I will not be going there, क्योंकि उसको मेरा चेहरा देखकर ही वो इरिटेट हो जाता है, so I should not go there. That's why I told you that people sitting over there, they don't know. But anyway, they forced me. No, you should go. Next day I went to Gilani's residence. First I was not allowed to go in. Somehow, with the permission of SSP, I went inside and Gilani saw this, he is famous for hospitality. He is famous for hospitality. He receives you very warm. And He received me very warmly. कैसे हैं बशीर साहब, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। और इसके बाद जो दूसरा सवाल है, आजकल किस एजेंसी के साथ ताल्लुक है? इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसी। Which agency do you represent? Please. This question actually irritated me. I said, sir, can you please bring in your son, Naseem Gilani sir also? क्यों? क्या करना है? मेरी बस प्लीज। नहीं, आप बताइए ना क्या? Mr. There are only two agencies, intelligence agencies active in Kashmir. One is ISR, which is represented by your good self. Second is IB, it is being represented by your son. उसको भी लाइएगा, अपना रिकॉर्ड चेक कर लीजिएगा, मैं कहाँ पे हूँ, मुझे लालचों पे फांसी दे। So this is the kind of we have in Kashmir. I told you, so it is not about the big stakeholders alone, about the political leaders from mainstream or separatists. You have many actors there, many actors who have developed. Well, this is called the conflict economy, and they are thriving on it. We don't have any kind of industry in Kashmir. We have huge unemployment. But the only industry which has thrived in Kashmir over the years is conflict. People have built, many in the world, huge edifices on the conflict economy. They have thrived on it. Yes, sir. Next.
What has been fired in Kashmir? Is that the ground reality? Second question, Ladakh has been made a separate union territory from Jammu and Kashmir. How well has that gone down with the people?
So, sir, as far as the statement of the minister is concerned, Honorable Home Minister, let me tell you honestly, sir, not a single letter. There was unprecedented security. Dangerous people were not allowed to come out of their phones and etc. For at least for 20 to 25 days, nobody was allowed to sit apart from his home. That is true. But that went to their advantage. And this is only one part as I concluded. I said that the second important thing is that people behaved actually very well. They would have fired like anything because they have never hesitated in firing and killing the people in Kashmir. Because it is very easy to kill people in Kashmir. They would have not hesitated. But the casualties didn't happen because of these two things. One is, of course, there was unprecedented security in place. Second, people who behaved wisely. That's why there was no need to fire today. Second part is so far as carving out Ladakh, union territory from Kashmir, from Jammu and Kashmir, sir. It has been their demand since decades. Why should I rule a remote area which is 450 kilometers away from my place? Why should I rule them on remote control? Number one. Number two, geographically, culturally, linguistically, ethnically, they are different from us. Yes. Then there is that Hindu-Muslim divide. Kargil district represents Muslims and Lake district represents this majority district. Kargil was not happy with certain things, but after that negotiations happened with them, and somehow they have reconciled, and there are now some legitimate demands about shifting some offices to Kargil district. Otherwise, there is no big challenge from that unity. Yes, sir.
Firstly, I appreciate you for the courage. You have voiced your opinions. I had to read the book, but I could really have some glimpses of what should have been written in that. So initially, you being a media man, you should be knowing the ground realities in Kashmir. So what is that common man in Kashmir looking out for? What is the common man looking out for? And you being associated with everything, and as you said, the nexus between the politician, bureaucracy exists everywhere in India. It is nothing exclusive for Kashmir. It is everywhere. The nexus between the politician, business people, media is a common thing in India, any state you go. But with all your experiences, with your knowledge about Kashmir, do you think there could have been a better solution than abrogation of 370, or do you suggest some other alternate solution where Kashmir leads to the path of prosperity? Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. This was actually very important. How the decision was taken on the question. Ma'am, Article 370, whether it was protecting my identity or not, is debatable. Because honestly, nothing substantial was left in that article now. It was just numerical 370 existing on the statute. Everything else had gone. Since gone. But the way it was striking since decades. I was a little chap. I would listen from one of our stalwarts, Karilan Handu, political stalwart. He was the National Congress. I would listen to him. I would hear, Ajhun is the Prahar Ajhun is the Prahar means Hazir as were traditional names of Kashmiri women. Hazir is there, her honor and dignity is there because of 370. Hazir's honor and dignity is there because of 370. Muhammad's honor and dignity is there because of 370. It was so, the politics of 370 was so intensive and so consistent that it became the part of the collective consciousness. And using 370, though on paper, though there was nothing substantial, but there is a sense of loss in Kashmir, let's say. There is a sense of loss. They have lost something. Honestly, when you will pose the question, what? What did you lose? They don't have answers. But it was somewhere in their subconscious that it is our religion was there, religious identity. My Islam was safe because of Article 3. So, abrogation somehow shocked the people in Kashmir. One and all. This is the first thing. The second thing is that, again, I will tell you, ma'am, that society is still aspirational and ambitious society. The narrative which they constructed on the floor of House on August 5th and 6th that we are doing it because we want now investors should go to Kashmir and there should be development and there should be empowerment. I call it E. Empowerment, investment and development. The narrative of E. Then people will suggest you that no, there are no takers for it. I will tell you honestly, I am ready to take. So are hundreds and thousands of people because we are not Afghans. Kashmiris are not Afghans. So, but the problem with the people in Delhi is, the establishment in Delhi is that they talk about cigars and they don't do anything. 3.5 months. Something somewhere should have been done. At least there should have been some kind of power movement on papers itself. You should be asking for DPRs and all that. Ambani at one point in time said that I am going to do this. Then he went into silent mode. My own governor, he was a good friend of mine, Mr. Satyapal Malik, talked about holding an investor summit in September itself. When was it? So, in September, He fixed the date September 22nd, then he deferred it indefinitely. So people get disillusioned. You should have, no, you should have fast. If you want to do something because you have done something very fast, very unprecedented, then the format should be equally fast. You should be very fast, but that's not happening. That is creating some kind of disillusionment among the people.
Excuse me, I am making a statement on a question.
So,
Having waited for 70 years, now coming to 3.5 months is a disillusion kind of thing. I think it's too early to come to a conclusion, too early to make a statement. Yes, 70 years lost. And they are trying to do something, whether whatever call it after 70 or early. They are trying to do their best. Let's not come to a conclusion within 3.5 months they are starting disillusion. This is what my submission.
let's hope and pray. Let's hope and pray. I am not an anti-racist, sir. I am not a pessimist. My only suggestion is that the kind of atmosphere you have in Kashmir and the amount of enormity which this decision carries, it demands that you should be very fast. Yes, you should be very fast. That's not the problem. Yes, no, sir, no. You want to go?
I want this.
We'll have one
Okay, one of you. It should.
One last
This is
question.
going to be the last question.
Any one of you.
As you were saying, like the society is also equally responsible of Kashmir. So whatever the damage it's been made, it's already been made. In your perception, how are you trying to, what you are going to contribute for the wellness of Kashmir? And one more thing, like the manifesto of the party in 2014 was eradicating of 370 and taking the special power. Now all of a sudden it happened. Kashmiris were not prepared for it. Now everything is happened. How you are going to take ahead?
So, I have elaborated in an article in Vivekananda Foundation that actually it is foolish on part of the people that they didn't realize it. Partly because of the leaders didn't make them to realize that it should do it. It is happening because of the school of commercial during the programs and especially this partly because of that. But at the same time, we should have been ready. Because, see, there was some kind of ideological orientation, and it was on their agenda for the last 70 years. I would have been expecting that it will happen tomorrow, today or tomorrow. So it was foolish on my part, not to get back to the last question, Dr. Salim, please. So you make this come. You're going to take question.
Bashir, I would like to ask you a question not as a journalist from Kashmir, but generally as a journalist. When you have to represent India Academic International Forum, there are two sides of it. Article 370 was not related to any ideology, to any party. Parties come, ideologies come, regimes come, they change. It was a solemn promise of an independent, sovereign, democratic republic nation during its inception to one of its constituents. Okay? If it is removed, what remains of the credibility of such a nation to its own people and to any of its global counterparts in future? Will anybody take India's solemn promises and face value from here on? That's one part of it. Second part of it, some of the Indian mainland has been brainwashed about exclusivity of 370, 370, 370. There are articles which follow after 370, 371, which dictates India's relationship with its northeastern states, where the concessions have been far more than what was given to the Kashmiri people. The day 370 was removed, every constitutional authority from those parts, starting from the elected chief minister to the union home minister, went outside and said that India will respect 371, India will respect 371. Is it not an act of hypocrisy and double standards? Okay, if Indians from mainland are not allowed to buy property in Kashmir, Kashmir is not the only place where Indians from mainland is not allowed to get properties. It is the same in Arunachal Pradesh, it is the same in Sikkim, and this thing. Why are these two scenarios being looked differently? Is it because of the change in demography? Thank you very much.
These two things. 71, which gives us same kind of protection to at least 16 states and 2 union territories. And your attention is not going to that side. I agree. But let me tell you something very important, sir. There is no Pakistan in Arunachal, Assam, Gujarat, Pakistan. This is one thing. Second thing is, it was a temporary province. 371 is over. 370 was a temporary province. Either the people in Kashmir, they should have struggled so hard to convince the government of India at any point in time, for the last 70 years, to make it a permanent feature. They didn't do that. They only politicized it. They only did politics around it. So, when the temporary nature of this promise was settled in, when it was settled temporary, then who should sit on the brute majority can not abrogate. Full stop. One. Two. Why are you shying away? Then I am not shying away from telling the truth. Why are you shying away from telling the truth? That is, of course, the second important thing was that it was their idea of single family. Now, I am suggesting that, look, yeah, you did whatever you wanted to do. Because I am not among those people who will keep on crying and weeping and mourning about the things what happened yesterday. I look towards future. My only suggestion was since August 5, and I express my gratitude towards them that they accepted and they agreed upon. I told them, please don't come to Kashmir with this ideological baggage. It will be a disaster for you. Don't talk about your ideology. If you want to justify the abrogation, justify it on the basis of solid argument, derive it from the constitution itself, or on certain geopolitical things and all that, that will be good for you, and you can educate the people back in Kashmir that it is good for you, it will be good for you also here in Delhi. So, till yesterday, they didn't do that. But one last thing, sir, which is actually concerning me, which actually makes me a little bit disturbed about the things, is that both Prime Minister and Minister for External Affairs, they have been playing it very intelligently in the international courts. Let us accept it is that the issue got internationalized because of international media or something else, or because of Pakistan, whatever. The reasons that Kashmir is being discussed currently internationally. And the Prime Minister and Minister of External Affairs are giving a similar argument at the international level every. Back home, some mixed signals are going out which are actually disturbing me, Bashir. To what extent they will be disturbing the people, the conservative mindset in Kashmir, you can just imagine. Those mixed signals are very dangerous. You should be very polite, as I told you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sannyas Rao.
In the meeting, I am making an announcement about membership development. See, once you see the conspiracy of silence, okay, sometimes if I don't tell the truth, it's also conspiracy of silence. We had decided to invite everyone for our meeting up to one time. Afterwards, we may not be able to invite you to these meetings unless you become a member of the Hyderabad Management Association. We're spending a lot of money. I'm not talking about the money. The membership is only 980 plus 200 rupees admission fee. Out of 15 meetings, you may come one meeting. This meeting is a wonderful meeting. Please think We're spending a lot of money. We're paying, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs for the LKG bar, but we're not spending 1,000 rupees for an intellectual forum. I'm focusing on the individual members and also student members. We are giving at 500 rupees. Please think about it. If you would like to proceed further, if you would like to improve your knowledge and knowledge enhancement, please be a member of Hyderabad Management Association. Thank you.
May I request our President Nagesh Garu to present a token of our appreciation and gratitude to our guest speaker.
Let me congratulate two people over here. One is Mr. Sannyasi Rao, who has come up as a chairman of the management of the membership committee with a wonderful scheme. He has not told, but I would like to tell you, he has come out with a Hyderabad Management Association label pin for life members. He is going to present it to all the life members who are joining this year. For all others,
On cost.
on cost. And the second person whom I am going to appreciate is the concept of this pin is from our past president, Gampa Nageshwara Garu. Now I take this pleasure for the presentation of the memento. I request a young boy sitting here, very young boy, he is a lifetime achievement awardee, Mr. Mohan Hamadi. He is the president of Sur Mandal, to please come over, join me in presenting the memento. Of Hyderabad Management Association also to join me in presenting the memento. The Secretary for the vote of thanks.
On behalf of Hyderabad Management Association, we thank Dr. Asif Iqbal, the President of Indian Economic Trade Organization, for collaborating with us to host this wonderful guest lecture on K5, the conspiracy of silence. I also thank him for addressing the audience today. Our special thanks to Mr. Bashir Assad for his wonderful and objective analysis of the Kashmir situation, and where he was talking about the loose ends and the lacunae in the Kashmir policy. And then he was very right in saying that the successive governments have invested on Kashmir rather than invested in Kashmir. That was the brilliant point that he made it. And then people were trying to legitimate issues in an illegitimate manner. And then he was also very clear in pointing out that the Kashmir youth lost its focus, and then they were radicalized beyond redemption, and they were emotionally vulnerable. And then the flawed Kashmir policy of the government. Sir, we once again thank you very much for this analysis of the Kashmir issue, and we thank you once again. I thank each and every member who has attended this program. Thank you one and all. Please join us for dinner.
Next program of lecture meeting will be either on 12th or 11th of December. Keep watching the website and social media for the announcement. There will be a TEDx speaker which will be joining us for the lecture meeting on that particular. Thank you very much.
No, but let us not have these recording sessions on a Sunday.
Sir, we have no specific dates. If you see, the sessions are happening on all the days. Sometimes because of certain issues, it does happen on Sunday. I think in the entire 1 year of this, the only one event has happened on Sunday.